The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, JM, and Paul G. Wah, wah, wah.
I have a message. Well, first, let's do the breaking news. So the votes are in. 427 yes to allow remote voting, absentee voting. 244 no, that's 64%. You need 66%. So I got a message for Susan Garrett and Prue Beidler.
Yeah.
Susan Saylor Daly. And the rest of that crowd. I want you to come this next time there's a break of school, and I want you to sit and explain to my kids why you don't think they should be able to vote in this election, but they can vote in the presidential election, especially you, Senator Garrett, who in 2009 voted for the current mail balloting system, which was far less secure, far more expensive. And Prue Beidler, her op-ed,
she had an op-ed?
It has to wait its turn until we deal with other things. So my kid's right to vote has to wait its turn till she settles a grievance that people didn't want her to be the mayoral candidate? BS. BS, Prue. Come on and tell me I'm wrong. All right? The caucus isn't perfect. Nobody's perfect. But this is a good system.
I'll second that.
But this is a good system. Find me a town that's better run than Lake Forest, please. Find me one. Find me one that has a lower municipal. Oh, you can't because we have the lowest municipal tax rate around.
Is that your
So, like I said, we can find things and we can all disagree on issues. But when you tell me that your vote is more important than my kid's vote, or someone, I have a friend that who lives on Prue's block. And his dad's in a wheelchair, very sick. Okay, he can't come to vote in these things. He votes by elections, but he can't physically get to Gorton. I want you to go look your neighbor in the eye, Prue, and tell me why your vote is more important than his vote. Okay? So all the other bylaw changes you want, we should be voting on them with 16,000 voters, not 700. Not who can send out the biggest email. Okay? And the email Susan Garrett sent out, by the way, there's some questions I'm hearing about how she got the list because apparently it was an old caucus list that someone who used to be a caucus officer may have given her. I'm hearing that rumor.
Here's a fact. That old
Susan, say with
website,
me.
anybody could log into it.
All
Anyways,
right, well,
you know,
bigger point is this, you know, all these people, and most of them are Democrats. I don't want to partisanize this, but you've partisanized this over.
cares?
All these people are for open voting. They call the Republican Party, you know, vote deniers, or what's the whole thing that they disenfranchising people and voter suppression. Well, this is voter suppression by them. Okay, I know it's not a partisan line. There's some good Democrats out there in the caucus, and there's probably some Republicans that went along with Prue and Sue. They'll certainly dredge them up for an op-ed at some point. Um, so I don't want to make this a total partisan thing, but I'm willing to bet you Garrett and Prue Beidler felt very strongly against some of the things that were being done in states like Georgia to make it more difficult for people to vote. But oh, when it threatens their little fiefdom of their 500 people or 200 people they can get to stop anything, then oh my God, we can't allow that. We can't allow Joe Weiss's
What?
kids to vote. We
Why
can't
are you?
allow Prue Beidler's disabled neighbor to
Why
vote.
are you? Why is this? Why do you have this wrath for Prue and Susan when
Well, because
only 400
because they're
people voted?
disenfranchised because they are speaking for a minority of the city. Pete, we've talked about this on many shows. Okay, before you started having axes to grind with people in the caucus and the people in the city council, old Pete Jansen's used to talk about how these were the outliers, and they still are the outliers. They
Now, you know
never
what,
have.
Joe? Getting my hands dirty personally into all this. Nobody's got clean hands in this. In this.
Okay, like I said, no one's perfect, Pete. But do you think that means my kids shouldn't be able to vote in a caucus election because they're away at college?
Well, Joe,
Yes or
you should
no?
be pissed because only 400 people came out to vote. That's
Yeah,
pathetic.
I am. I'm disappointed in that we
You
couldn't
should be
get
more
more
than
people.
disappointed.
How
That's
about
the
my
problem.
kids? Why couldn't they vote? Why
Republicans
couldn't
don't
Prue's
freaking
disabled
vote.
neighbor vote?
Why don't
He knows who
why
he
don't
is.
Republicans get off their ass and vote, Joe?
Pete, there's a lot of reasons, but how about we have multiple ways? How can we have a true vote when we don't have all the true voting options? Okay? We will never have a vote that represents the entire community unless we allow remote voting of some sort. Okay? There's no way if you
Lake
Pete, there's
Forest
16
deserves to
Pete,
turn into
Pete, hold
Highland
on.
Park.
No, no, no.
Yeah, it does.
Pete, there's 16,000 voters in
Yeah.
Lake Forest. Let's say we had a 25% turnout in the caucus election today. You wouldn't have the room or the time to get all those people in and out of Gorton Center. You have to open this up if you expect to allow the community to vote in this.
Nobody
So,
cares.
no. Well, you're right. Most people don't care. Most people care more about presidential elections than local elections. You're right. You're absolutely right. And that goes both ways. That goes for Republicans and Democrats. Okay. But someone can send out an email to just enough people to say, oh my God, it's
You're
not
giving her that
secure.
much credit.
Even though it's not as secure as a system that it's more secure of a system than the
Joe, we
one
had her
she
on the
voted
show.
for as a state
What was her
senator.
compelling argument?
Who?
Susan Garrett.
I don't know.
There wasn't any.
The stunt you guys pulled bringing her on,
What
totally.
stunt, Joe?
You didn't tell me or Regina that you were having her on.
That's a stunt?
Is this like the Jerry Springer show?
What, are you intimidated or Susan
No, I'm
Garrett
not intimidated.
intimidates
And I
you?
think, you know what? I've had more than one, I've had quite a few people tell me that it was a blessing in disguise because anybody that watched Object saw that Regina ran circles around Susan in that discussion.
Then what are you
And
worried about? This is about
I just,
transparency,
okay.
Joe.
I mean, you're going to bring
Pick,
somebody's ex-wife on a show when they're on or something? I mean, come on.
Joe, pick your battles, dude.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just
We
saying
we
it was
put
got.
her on the
But
show to
Susan,
show
but
that she had no
Susan,
argument,
by her
Joe.
own
She
admission,
had
was the
no point. All she said was fear, uncertainty, and doubt.
Yeah, you're
Only
right. And then
400
Prue
people showed
Beiler,
up.
and then okay, so Susan at least had concerns about the process. I totally disagree with her. And like I said, she voted for a far less secure, far more expensive process. So she's full of hot air. But at least it was a concern about the process. Prue, on the other hand, if you read her op-ed and her letter that she sent out to people, it's all about this needs to wait in line. This amendment needs to wait in line before other things. So, in other words, my kid's right to vote has to wait in line till Prue gets what she wants. I call that holding people hostage, Prue.
I think you should be more concerned with your Republican buddies that they didn't come out and vote.
Well, again, Pete, this isn't a partisan thing,
Yeah, it
okay?
is. They didn't
No, it's
show up.
not. We keep partisan. We check part. Prue wants to make it partisan, and some of her friends want to make it partisan. Though, ironically, one of the biggest issues for the Democratic Party is the Republicans are supposedly disenfranchising them and engaged in voter suppression. But I guess it's okay in Lake Forest to suppress the vote. Okay, whatever.
It's already
But
suppressed because nobody votes.
but Pete, if you want to make this a partisan thing, then you should be all for the caucus because they're for lower taxes. Even the Democrats on the council keep the lowest municipal property tax rate in the city. So yeah, are there mistakes? Of course. Who doesn't make mistakes? But I'll tell you, they run circles around this crowd. You elect these people, you're going to see a 10-cent bag tax like Northbrook.
Oh,
You're
I have
going to
no
see.
doubt. Lake Forest is going to turn into Highland Park.
No, I don't think so. I
Yeah, it
think
is.
no, because Pete, when we get into the actual election, here's what happens. We're going to spend another $500,000 between the two candidates, whoever they are. Okay, caucus is going to nominate somebody, and LF4T is going to find some reason. And where's their state board of election reports? Um, the non-transparent Lake Forest Transparency Group is going to find some reason to get somebody to run. Susan says she's not running. She said it on her show. Of course, Prue Beiler said the same thing four
Doesn't
years
need
ago or
anything.
3 years ago. Um, Melanie, she's told a couple people, Melanie Rummel, a couple people that she's not running. That'd be great because I don't think that would be good for the city based on her record. So who they got? I don't know. But in any event, whoever it is, if there's a contested election, expect to see another $500,000 spent, and we'll get the same result. Maybe even better because I think the majority are waking up to this. They can, like I said, they can take over a meeting at Gorton. They couldn't even get a majority. The caucus preservation thing they got the majority vote against it because I think a lot of people were concerned about that, right or wrong. But this issue, 64% said yes. Do you know no presidential candidate in American history has gotten 64% of the vote? So that was, by any other stretch of the imagination, a landslide. But to change bylaws, you need 66% of the vote. So I get it. Those are the rules. You need 66%. I accept that. But I do not accept denying my kids the right to disabled people, elderly people, people serving in our military that are overseas or out of town at least. This is a slap, and you just basically gave a big middle finger to them, and you said my vote is more important than theirs. Thanks.
Yeah, and only 400 people voted yes.
Yeah,
So
no, more people should vote. You're
600 people
absolutely
in
right,
town.
Pete.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right,
So
Pete.
why aren't
More
you
people
that
should vote.
upset on that aspect of it? Caucus couldn't
I
get too
am
much
upset that
points.
more people didn't vote it, of course, but I'm also upset that this 33% at best crowd, they can't, they've never gotten, other than the CPA vote, they've never gotten above 50%. They do not speak for the majority of this community. They're not even close. Randy Tack got 60% against Prue Byler, despite her spending her family inheritance of $250,000 to run in that, or whatever it was, 200,000, whatever ungodly number it was for an unpaid job, using
Joe,
using Obama consultants, by the way,
how do we
Pete.
get more people to go out and vote? And why can't the caucus get more than 400 votes?
Pete, we need to get people involved in more local issues. We need to get them involved in
How do we
municipal
do
and
that?
school board elections. Pete, I don't know. I mean, it's hard because here's the thing. A lot of people vote by not voting. If you're happy with how things are, you get complacent. And I guarantee you, I know this. The majority of people in this city are overall very happy with how this city is run. Okay? They've chosen
You
a
said
nation
that.
community. This is a community people choose to live in. All right. They could, most of the people living in this community could live anywhere in this country. They continue to choose Lake Forest. And there's a reason, because it's a great place to live. Again, where can you get all these services and still have
And
people are
why aren't
stubborn.
people coming out and
Lowest
speaking up?
municipal tax rate in Lake County.
You can say that as many times as you want, Joe, but
Well,
people aren't getting out and
because
voting.
well, you're not getting it. You don't you think it's
What?
Highland
What am
Park.
I
It's
not getting,
not.
Joe? Sell me. What am I not getting?
How did you vote today? I voted yes. How did you vote?
I voted yes.
Okay,
And
thank
no
you.
on Nancy Novit.
My kids, thank you.
No more DEI hires.
I don't know what that's all about, but
Well, study the podcast.
if you're talking about the slating of an alderman 6 years ago or 4 years ago,
Whatever, Joe.
whatever.
I'm starting to get really disenfranchised in this whole
Well,
thing.
see, but that's how they win, Pete. That's how they get
Okay,
when people like you who think like me on the issue get disenfranchised. That's how they win. So
Joe,
we
I'm a
can't let our
guy
guard up.
that's really trying to help the caucus out. And
Are you?
yeah,
All
yeah,
right.
Joe, having done it
Well, you
for a
did by
while.
bringing Susan Garrett on the other day
What is your
because I
problem
think
with that, Joe? Seriously,
people
what is your
no, but
problem?
people
Are we
no,
a transparent
I think it
podcast?
was great because
Joe, are
people
we a
saw what a
transparent podcast? Yes or no?
of course we are, Pete, but
And what's your
part of
problem?
were you transparent to your guest telling her that you were going to have another person on?
Joe, I knew it
Cuts
in
both
less.
ways there, Pete. Look, it's fine.
It's
It
fine.
all worked out for
Hey,
you know
Joe,
what? Let's put
it's
Regina up against Susan any day of the week. She'll run circles around her.
then why are you bringing it up, Joe? Did Susan Garrett intimidate you?
Did you bring her on because you wanted to stir the pot with the caucus?
I wanted to bring her
I mean,
on.
I know you're not happy with the mayor lately in the city, so I'm just
Are
look,
you?
that's your
Joe?
right.
Joe, are
That's
you
your right.
happy?
With the mayor in the city,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay,
Absolutely.
then keep wearing your cheerleading outfit.
Okay,
Look, man,
okay, thanks. But
no,
look, you know why I wear the cheerleading outfit,
yeah,
Pete?
why?
Because the alternative is really bad. Okay? The alternative is plastic bag tax, mandatory composting, things we're seeing in other
Joe,
communities.
let's get
And
back to Susan Garrett.
Pete,
What?
hold on. But let me finish the thought
No,
and then we'll
Joe.
talk
No,
all you
you're
want.
not taking over, Joe. You're not
All
taking
right.
over. Susan Garrett and Regina had points to bring, and we had them on this show, and they
Okay,
brought them forward.
but Susan knew that Regina was coming on. You never told Regina that Susan was coming on. Do you think that that's fair?
Yeah, it's totally fair.
Why? Why to tell one guest that the other one's on and not the other?
One guest
Think
asked,
about that.
yeah, and what? And what,
I mean,
Joe?
look,
Is
it's
Susan
fine. It
Garrett
worked
that
out.
intimidating?
It's fine.
You must be intimidated by her
No,
point,
I would
though,
have
Joe.
no. My issue with it was that I think it's not fair to have to tell one person one thing and not tell it to the other. That's all. That's full transparency. You should have been transparent to Regina, saying, "Hey, Regina, just so you know, I'm going to have Susan Garrett on."
I did right when Susan showed up.
Okay, come on, Pete. You know
Oh, come
better.
on, Joe.
That's fine.
Let's
It's
toughen
fine.
up
You know
here.
what? But
Let's
here, let's.
toughen up. No,
No, that's fine. I don't care. It worked out. Okay, it's great
you don't care.
because
You
you know
brought it
what?
up three or four
It
times,
actually, like I
Joe.
said, it was a
No,
blessing in
Joe, you brought
disguise.
it up 3 or 4 times, so get your point out. Was there a
I
problem
did.
having
I
Susan
did.
Garrett and Regina talking through their points on our show?
No,
Was that good or bad for Lake Forest?
it turned out to be good. Yes.
Okay, then step off.
I'm just telling you.
I'm just telling you
Look,
back, Joe.
all right, look, I think other than that, it was a great show. Okay, she did fine. I did, but Pete, wouldn't you at least tell me at least? I mean, whatever. I mean, that's fine. I'm not arguing with you. You made your point, I
Joe,
made
are you a
mine.
Karen? Are you turning into Karen on me?
Hell no.
Okay, toughen
Okay.
up, son.
Okay, Pete, the issue is you're missing the bigger picture here.
No, I think you're
I have
missing the
lived
bigger picture.
no,
I think
Pete,
we don't have enough influence in this town to get more than 400 people to vote yes. And the caucus, look, man, I'm a guy that's trying to help these people out, and they're giving me a hard time trying to promote this thing. They deserve to lose by 2 points. So there you go.
I don't agree with that. Now, but here's the thing. I want you to think this out. All right. I've seen what happens in other communities where the caucus goes off the rails and goes a partisan direction. All right. Northbrook, Highland Park, Skokie. Those were all these that at one time were very well run, and they are now doing stupid things like 10-cent taxes on bags at all the stores.
Are you going through your script again, Joe? Nobody wants to
There's
hear
no
this
script,
stuff.
Pete. I'm just
You're
telling you
going
like
through
it
the same
is. I don't
stuff.
have a
Yes.
script. I don't read. I'm not reading from any script, Pete. I never
It's
do.
learned in your head, dude. People are
Because I
tired.
know what I'm talking about. Because I've seen it. I've lived it. I lived in
Okay,
Skokie and
great.
saw how it
It's
changed.
how does the caucus get 2 more percentage points to come out and change these bylaws?
They need to do better on getting out the vote. Totally agree. And I think if you were to talk
Let's
to them right now, I think if you were to have a conversation with them right now, they would agree with that they failed on getting the 2/3. Right. You're absolutely right. Like I said, there's room for improvement. I don't disagree with you, Pete, but I don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater because I've seen what the alternative is here. The alternative is absolute lunacy, like we've seen in like Northbrook and Highland Park.
and that's what the people want.
No, it's not. 64%. Pete, I guarantee you, if you opened this process up and let the people vote, all the people vote, my kids, military members, disabled, the whole community, not just Susan Garrett's email list, this would have been a landslide.
Susan
Okay.
Garrett has that much power,
And when we
Joe?
get
Seriously?
look, when we got to the regular election in 2020, Randy got 60% of the vote. Most candidates would kill to get 60% of the vote in a contested election. All right. This is over. This is the tail wagging the dog. This is a very small group of people. Rami Lopat, Prue Beidler, Susan Saylor Daly, Melanie Rummel, Susan Garrett.
Their 200 is stronger than our 400.
Well, it should be the other way. 400 really should beat 200, but okay. The rules are 2/3, so we have to, because we can't change the rules because we need 2/3. So we are at a paralysis now. We are at a paralysis. So if you can't get 2/3 for this amendment, you're not going to get 2/3 for amendments that they wanted. I'm going to tell you that right now. No way. So
I don't
they
think
just
people
shot. You
care.
know what they did? You know what they did tonight, Pete? They shot themselves in the foot. They're not going to get. They could have
Caucus
gotten
did?
the. They couldn't. No, the LF4T people that you always used to rag about. They shot them. You used to.
What,
You
Joe? I look, as
you
information
did.
changes, hey Joe, unlike
What
you
changed?
and your scripts,
I
when
don't
the
have
info
scripts,
when
Pete.
yeah, you
There's
do.
no script here.
You have the Rhino Bible in your back pocket.
Oh,
Look,
please. I voted Republican before you knew
okay,
could spell it.
okay. Joe, look, it's unfortunate that we can't get how many more people do we need to come out to vote?
Probably, I don't know. I haven't done the math here. I went to public school, so
25, 30,
I
something
shouldn't
like
say
that?
that. I'm sorry. Um, hold on. Now you're getting me here. It's what was it? Two
While
four
you're
twenty
while-
seven
while-
to 244. So that total was you had 427 plus 244. That's 671 voters. So if you wanted 2/3 of that, 0.66, 442. So this failed by like 15 votes,
20 votes.
15 or 16 votes.
Yeah.
So to 15 people basically gave a big middle finger to the rest of the community that's disabled, that's away at college, that's serving in our military.
Now, Joe, getting back to scripts, as the information
I
changes,
got prescriptions. That's it.
as the information changes, I change with the information that I receive, Joe. And seeing what I've seen, because you keep bringing it up, and I'm going to push back, and you keep bringing it up, I'm going to push back even harder. I've seen what the caucus does and doesn't do I saw what Randy Tack has done and what he hasn't done. Okay. Before, during, and after. That's why I'm changing my opinion. And if anytime you
So
can
would
get,
you have voted for Prue Beidler in 2023 if you had to vote again?
if I had to vote again, I it'd be the
I'm
same
just
thing.
asking you. It was the, or would you have voted for Paul Ham and eggs?
Uh, yeah, probably.
Okay. I'm just curious. I mean, look, I get it. I understand your point of view. I don't agree with it, but I see where you're coming from. Okay. I respect different points of view and I can tolerate different points of view.
Doesn't sound like it though, because we have the opportunity
No,
to get
I'm
two
certainly going
different
to
points
make,
of view on
but
the
I'm
show.
certainly going to articulate as best my point of view. Everyone has a right to express their opinion. That doesn't mean I can't express my opinion about their opinion too. It cuts
So
both ways.
so we shouldn't have had Susan Garrett on the show. That's the 2 percentage points. Is that
I
what
would here look, I thought it turned out to be a great show. I would have said, "Hey Regina, just so you know, I'm going to bring Susan on," because Susan knew, but Regina didn't. But you know what? Regina's an attorney that handles lots of
Gina's a
trials
big
and stuff.
girl.
She was a
She's an
pro.
attorney. She does what she has to do. And
Well,
this
I
is the
think she
last
handled
minute.
the situation extremely well, and I
As
think
she
she's done
should.
it.
It was a great opportunity. It was a great debate.
And you know what? She proved that most of the stuff that Susan was saying was garbage. So I think anybody that watched the podcast probably voted yes. All right. Any undecided voter that watched our podcast last week probably voted yes. All right. Now, like I said, Susan's email list that may have come from a former
Susan's
caucus
email list is
member.
Lake Forest Place. How do we get into Lake Forest Place?
Knock on the door. I don't know. I mean, what?
You
Yeah, but
look,
but Pete, there's a lot. You know what though? I disagree with that because there's a lot of people. I know a couple people who have family members living in Lake Forest Place that their physical condition is such that they can't make it to Gordon. Okay? You know, Jim Lovell just passed away. He was living in Lake Forest Place, and I know for a fact, unfortunately, that his health condition was getting worse the last few years. So he still voted in
do
presidential
they
elections,
take the
but he
bus
couldn't
over
vote in
from
a
there?
car. So they didn't want Jim Lovell, people like Jim Lovell. How's that? I mean, seriously, Pete, what is? Let's get everybody to vote. You know, the transparency people keep harking back to the 2022 vote to select Randy Tack, and they kept saying, "What's the difference if we allow people to vote? The caucus won't listen to it anyways." And that's such a nonsensical argument because the vast majority of the community is can't I shouldn't say vast majority, but there's a large chunk of this community that physically can't vote in these elections, but can vote in the other elections. So when they had this little vote at Gorton, they won that. But when we got to the polling place, they lost handily.
You know, you're giving
And
too
the
much
same
credit
thing's
to
going to
them.
happen again. It'll
You're
be the
giving
same
them,
result. You know, Scoo was right when Scoo said something right the last time he was on the show, or one of the last times he was on the show, and he says it doesn't matter because the people are just going to vote the way they do anyway. So you know what? We're going to have a contested election. The caucus is going to slate a candidate again. We'll find out who. We can sit and speculate till the cows come home. They're going to run a candidate. We could speculate till the cows come home of who it is. But it's going to be, and you're going to see tons of money, tons of divided blocks with yard signs and all that stuff. Fine, that's the American way. That's how all campaigns are going. But I have full confidence that at the end of the day, the voters of Lake Forest like what they're seeing, like what they're getting, and they're going to vote yes because they don't want the alternative. This is not Highland Park, Pete. It's not.
not yet.
You keep saying not yet, not ever. I've looked at election returns for other elections. This ain't Highland Park, Pete. There's a big difference
Okay.
between our two communities. All right.
Study Highland Park a little bit more, Mr. North
I've
Shore.
studied it a lot over the years,
Okay,
Pete. And I've
here,
looked
let's
at
go.
one of the things I did was look at election returns over the years. There's
All
a
right,
big
good.
difference.
Good. How did Highland Park start with their caucus?
Probably the same way. And they got manipulated. And again, I'll tell
Whoa,
you what
whoa, you're
happened.
stuttering now, Joe.
No, I want to explain. I'm not stuttering.
Okay.
What happened was they start injecting national politics into local government. Okay. So they made things become a referendum on national political issues. Go look at the City of Highland Park Facebook page lately. It's all stuff about
Yeah, but how was it like
immigration,
30 years
ICE.
ago? 30, 40 years
What?
ago, Joe? How was Highland
Yeah.
Park's Facebook page if there was one 30, 40 years ago?
Obviously, there wasn't one, Pete, so I don't
If there
know.
was, what, okay, their local
There
news.
was a okay. There was at some point a an election where someone said, you know what, most of the people in our town are voting Democrat, so let's get whoever a big name Democrat politician is to come in and campaign for us, and let's hire some guys from the Democratic Party to work for us, and let's get a big Democratic Party donor to underwrite us, and we will take over from within um, this city. And look, this cuts there. I can point to you other communities where the Republican Party tried to do the same thing. So I
I'm
don't
thinking of Highland
want.
Park and how they
I
turned it,
don't.
they did. You don't see any similarities at all?
Sure, there's certain similarities,
Okay,
but there is yes, and there is a group of people in Lake Forest. Look, Kamala Harris won Lake Forest. But other Republican candidates won Lake Forest. No Republican candidates win Highland Park. So there is a difference, Pete. This is this is not a blue town. This is not a red town. This is a Highland Park is a blue town. They vote blue no matter who. All right.
great. Were
And
they blue no matter who 40 years ago?
Pete,
You said you studied this, Joe. You're the
yeah,
political
I
guy,
have
right?
studied it. Okay, Pete, in answer to your specific question, I
Yeah.
don't know the numbers offhand, but it probably changed over the years. Now, where I grew up in Skokie, that was a bipartisan, nonpartisan caucus, all right? And slowly over the years, the local Democratic politicians there over. They went and said, we got the votes, the Republicans don't. Get rid of this trustee, put one of our guys on. And it slowly became a partisan machine to where there were no Republicans involved in the Skokie caucus. At one time, they actually had a logo down there with a triangle that said Democrat, Republican, Independent. That logo's long gone because Republicans are not welcome in the Skokie caucus anymore. And guess what? And you'd say, okay, who cares? But let's look at the public policy. Skokie was one of the last communities besides Lake Forest that had twice a week garbage pickup. They have gotten rid of it because they want people, they're basically forcing everyone to compost. So, and they said if we take away the twice a week garbage pickup and limit the amount of garbage people can put in their regular garbage, we're going to make them compost. They're not even hiding that. They said it at a public meeting. You can go find that online. All right. So, and again, Northbrook, same deal. That used to be a bipartisan caucus. Democrats started taking it over. There was the Democratic state representative who was a Democratic committeeman there. They chased they said, get rid of all the Republicans that are on this. We want it to be all Democrat. And what do you have now in Northbrook? You have a 10-cent tax on bags, and you have a mayor of Northbrook who, when she was a village trustee, told a police officer who came to her house on a disturbance call to F off. There's an affidavit about that.
So you're telling
So,
me I shouldn't like Northbrook. I don't like Northbrook. I don't want
right.
Lake Forest to turn into
I
Highland
don't
Park.
either,
So
Pete.
so why are
So
we
we
letting
all have the same goal. We just have a different way of getting there.
so why don't people care?
Because again, local issues don't get the attention that national do. All right. I can find five Republicans in within 30 seconds who are probably sat
Could you
home
find
tonight.
16?
Oh, I could probably, sure. I could find
Could you
16
hey,
Republic.
you
Look,
know
Pete,
what?
I
Is the
called
voting over?
everybody I got. I made a call to I called, texted, emailed everybody I knew. So I did my part. All right. I wish I knew more people. I don't know as many people. All right. Did you call your friends and tell
Gee,
them?
I don't know. I got a
Did you say
podcast.
come
I don't
vote for
know.
Joe Weiss's kids to
I think
vote?
a couple hundred people, or well, 300 people.
I
What
mean,
would I
look,
do,
it's
Joe?
tough. Local government's boring. I get it. Okay, it doesn't. It's not as sexy as what you see on Fox News or MSNBC. I get it. Okay, more people know about what's going on in Washington than they do in their hometown. I get it. Okay, it's never. I've never seen a local election where the turnout's as high as a presidential election. And
So
again, a lot of that has to do with people vote by not voting. They're
if the people don't
complacent.
care, why should I
Well,
care?
you're right. Shame on people that didn't vote. You're right. Absolutely. I'm with you on that. Shame if unless now not shame on my kids, And not shame on people who are disabled or serving in our military that couldn't physically vote today. But if you could physically voted today and you didn't, shame on you. Yeah, I'm with you on that part. No, it's a dark day. I think it's just like I said. I'm pissed because my kids are being denied the right to vote because there has a vendetta for not being slated mayor. All right, that's what it. She can spin it any way she wants in her op-eds, but that's the case. And why don't you bring her on and not tell me?
Why do you?
Because I'd love to have that
I
conversation with
bring
her.
anyone
And
on, Joe. I'm not
bring Prue
afraid of
on.
anybody.
I would love to have a discussion with Prue, and you don't need to tell me she's coming on. How's that?
Thank you for
I'd
letting
love
me
to
know
do
that,
that because
Joe.
I'm ready to talk with her. I'd like to talk this out with her, and I'll be polite and respectful. I think I was polite and respectful to Susan the other day. So because I can t- I can I accept
You're
different
giving them a
opinions.
lot of credit.
Well, they hijacked this process so my kids can't vote.
200
And you
people is a
know, you saw
hijacking?
in the news, all the metro trains coming out of Chicago were delayed. I barely made it there,
Is that
and
Prue's fault?
I'm sure some other Lake Forest residents
Are you
didn't
blaming
make it.
Prue and Susan Garrett for the trains not working?
I'm sure that Prue hired someone to hack into the Metra computer system. No, no. But my point is, we didn't have to worry about trains being late or people being away or people being sick or in the hospital. Everyone should have the right to vote, just like they do in a regular election.
You would
Why?
think.
Why are
You
we
would think.
denying that?
I don't know.
I
I,
mean, and again, this is a more secure one than what Susan voted for when she was a state senator.
well, the some of the
What does your
Democrats,
hat say? I've been trying to figure it out. Oh, on air. When did you get that? That's cool.
I tried to use it today at the Gorton Center with the caucus, but Mr. Dale, for the second year in a row, when I'm trying to help the caucus out, tries to shag me out of there, saying videotaping is not allowed. Yeah, show me the
Well, but
sign.
I don't know what the rules
There
are
is no
on it.
sign. There is no rule.
All right.
They just they deserve it. Lake Forest deserves
Again,
to give a hand to them.
there is certainly a lot of blame that can be passed around to a lot of people. All of us could have figured out a way that if we work collectively. Look, I ran when I was in high school. I ran for student body
There's
president and
46
lost
people on
by
the
six
caucus.
votes.
We could
What?
46 people on the caucus. They couldn't get 10 votes each. Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
absolutely. But what about I can name a couple of very prominent people in this town who have family members that are hospitalized or in nursing homes. All right. Is that fair? They would have voted. They would have voted
Yeah. And what percentage of that of the voters is that, Joe?
enough to have swung this a different way if we'd had remote voting.
Well, if we're
I'm
such a
just I'm just
well-run
asking to
town,
all I'm asking for is to level the playing field. Let open this up so everyone can vote, not just a select few. And then we can have the discussions and we can and you know what? If the majority of voters in this town really want a 10-cent bag tax, so be it. That's democracy. I don't think they
that is
do.
democracy. That's what we want.
Well, I don't think, Pete, I disagree with that. I don't
The
think the
numbers don't
majority.
lie, man.
What numbers? What numbers?
We can't get
You
anything
think the
passed.
majority of people in this town, I get it. By not voting, you're effectively allowing it. I
That's
get it.
right.
Okay. I totally get that. Though
Okay.
like I said, sometimes the silent, you know what? Prue did a great thing in a way
Can't
when
be
she
silent
ran.
anymore, Joe. Randy was silent. The president of Lake
Well,
Forest College is silent. You
all
can't be
right.
silent
Well, Lake
anymore.
Forest College deserves to be
Oh, you'll go there.
called on. Yeah, because that behavior, no one at the city was celebrating Charlie Kirk's death like that idiot kid was at Lake Forest College.
Then why
Nobody
didn't they say anything
celebrated
about
his
it, Joe? You
death.
gonna go there?
Nobody put RIP Bozo on a social media post from the city. Come on, Pete. There's a difference between what that kid did. And you keep bringing up Charlie, and you don't know him, and I did. And quite honestly, Pete, with
You
all
want to
due
go there
respect,
again, Joe?
no, you
I
brought
got
it
time
up.
tonight.
You brought it
I didn't
up.
know
I'm
I
just
didn't
saying,
know
I don't think you're
Charlie.
doing
Hey,
anything to
Joe.
advance the
Joe,
cause of Charlie Kirk by keep bringing it up, but that's another story.
what how am I not helping advance the cause by bringing it up?
You haven't brought anyone over to the issues that Charlie Kirk felt passionate about. I said this the first time
Speaking
you
up,
discussed about it is
speaking your
if
mind, Joe, not being afraid. You seem kind of afraid. You're afraid of
I'm not
Susan
afraid of
Garrett.
anything.
Are you
I'm not
afraid of
afraid
Prue
of her.
Biden?
Bring her on. Why don't you? I'm surprised you didn't have her on tonight. I would have loved that.
Oh,
I wasn't afraid of her at all. I just, like I said, I felt
no.
bad that I invited a guest and didn't do that, but that's fine. She held her own. Regina's terrific. And did you watch the show afterwards? Anyone that every I've had m multiple people say to me, you know what? I really didn't like what Pete did, but I'm glad, in a way, I'm glad he did it. It was a blessing in
Yeah,
disguise
of course it is.
Because Regina ran circles around Susan on this issue. Susan said a lot
Did
of
you
things
think
that
she
were just
wouldn't?
factually incorrect.
Did you think she wouldn't?
I didn't think
You
about it
think
because I
you
didn't
think
know it was
Susan
going to
Garrett's
happen.
that
I thought
smart?
Susan had gone away. I thought she'd, you know, I thought she wasn't coming back because you used to have an open
Hey,
invite for her,
hey,
and I
hey,
figured
I
she
have
had
the
gone
open
the way
invite to
of
anybody,
school.
Joe.
I don't know.
But
That's great.
the
Have Susan on
policy,
every week with me.
no,
I'm happy to talk with Susan
the
anytime.
old policy of just ignore them and let it go away, let it fester in their basements. That's not the way to do it, Joe. You bring them up and you talk, and they did. And you know what? Regina had points, Susan didn't, but it doesn't matter.
Hmm.
Fear
It's
and
kind of ironic
fear.
that Susan knew she was going to talk to Regina, and Regina didn't know she was going to talk to Susan, and Regina still made better
So
points than
you're saying
Susan.
a professional attorney is going to be intimidated by
No,
Susan?
because
Is
I
that what
think
you're saying?
no, absolutely not.
Then what is
It's
your
just
problem,
Pete. It's
Joe?
crazy. What if somebody brought your ex-wife onto the show? I mean, that would be
That's a
silly.
comparison. Hey, folks, in the comment section, let me
Well,
know what
that's
you
what look
think
at
of
Jerry
Joe's
Springer.
points.
A couple people said to me, it was like Jerry Springer. Let's bring on a surprise guest.
Then tell them to get their own show.
I'm just saying, look, it's fine. All right. It all
It's
worked
fine, but you
out.
keep bringing
Bring a
it up.
surprise guest on anytime you want. Don't be
You can bring a
surprised though if you
surprise
get
guest
less
because I'm not
guests.
intimidated by anybody.
I mean, but Pete, this is why you're getting fewer and fewer. What do I smell right now? Oh, another bridge that you burned. You keep you keep doing stuff like this, Pete, and that's
Like
why you're
what,
going to get less
Joe?
guests. We're having a hard
We
time
didn't
getting
have
more
guests to
guests.
begin with, Joe. They only come on when they need something, Joe.
It's not
Figure it
true.
out.
Okay, fine, but we need something. Guests.
No, we
Show's always better with a guest. No one wants to hear you and me babble every week.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But you know what? When you don't call
I
out
mean,
people, Joe, look, you want to smile and make everybody happy and glad hand and all that, but that's not how life is, brother. You got to call people out. You know what? If they don't
I
want to
just
come
did
on,
at the beginning of this show. I certainly called
okay,
half a
great.
dozen people out.
Okay, great.
I've called, and the reason I came on the show in the first place was I felt the need to call out Prue Beidler's lies during her mayoral campaign that she was nonpartisan. That's how I came on in the first place. Was I came out of my shell and out of nowhere and said, "Whoa, people, Prue's lying," and I got the receipts.
Well,
So
maybe
I'm not afraid to call people out. I call out Matt Montgomery all the time. Look at all the spending going on over there. Look at it. They're going to do another tax hike, Pete. How is it the city can build this really nice new police station with without raising taxes, yet Lake Forest High School is building far less, and they have to raise everybody's taxes $1,000 a year, and now they're talking about another one. Okay, and I don't know what's going on at 67. I hope Lori gets to the bottom of that. That's why a lot of people supported Lori being slated for this was they wanted a fiscally conservative voice on that school board. So I hope she focuses on that. And because there is a big difference between how the city is run and how these school districts are run, okay? And there were ways they could have done all those classrooms at the high school without raising taxes a dime. They were shown how to do it by very smart people that have done it elsewhere, and they didn't listen. And I think it's because they wanted that extra cash to spend on other things. That's what it was. They want where's the rebate Matt Montgomery promised you on this show?
I'm
Don't see it.
disenfranchised. We bring these people
Well,
on,
let's
they lie to us, or they don't come through on what they say they're going to do. I'm sick of it.
well, at least the city has a self-imposed tax cap and they follow it. So they're not lying on taxes. You may think they're lying on other things, but they on the thing that hurts that counts the most to you and me, our wallet, they're not lying. They're doing a good job with our wallet, unlike the folks over at the school district.
Well, the good thing about podcasts and the internet, it lasts forever, and history will show.
Yeah, no, I look, hey, if Matt Montgomery
Even
gives
talking
us
about
a rebate,
Montgomery,
if Matt Montgomery and well, it's really his school board, though, and that's why I'm
he's
hoping
going to go on
Lori.
to the next bucket of
Okay,
gold.
well then I hope the school board hires someone. No offense to Matt personally, he seems like a nice guy, but
Duly noted.
he raised our taxes. He put together a plan that his school board then voted for. So there's part they're part of the blame on this. But they raised our taxes $1,000 a year. Now there was a referendum, I get it, and it won by 100 votes. So shame on us that we didn't go out and get more people. I'm kicking myself that I didn't do the campaigning that I did in the mayoral side of the things that year because Randy ended up winning 60-40. I was scared to death that we would become governed like Highland Park by electing Prue mayor.
That's the next
Um,
election.
I don't think so. I really don't, Pete. I think the majority, I didn't know the community as well as I do now. And I think now that I do, um, and there's always a learning curve for all of us in life, but I think that knowing more what I see now, I think people are happy here for the most part. Yeah, there's a couple people with some gripes. Are things as perfect as they could be? Of course not. But this is a very well-run community, and I challenge someone to find me a better run community than Lake Forest.
In 20 years.
Right? Can you tell me one right now, today, 2025?
Highland Park was so great 40 years ago.
What about today? I'm not talking about. I don't know how Island Park
I'm
was
not thinking
run.
about today, Joe. I'm thinking about
I mean,
20.
Island Park is a nice area when you drive around it. They have nice houses. They have similar income levels to Lake Forest. Maybe not as high as Lake Forest, but they're pretty. You don't need to hold a tag day for most folks in Highland
You have to
Park.
weave around the homeless.
Well, there you go. That's a good point. So again, I don't want us to adapt those bad policies. The people living there are fine. I don't have a problem with it. I'm not getting into the demographics of their community versus our community. I have no problem with that. Okay, or the restaurants that have managed to stay in business despite an anti-business mayor. Um, I go there sometimes and patronize them. They're great, and I have
Duly
nothing
noted.
wrong with people, but the policies of how they're running that city and the fact that they constantly are injecting national politics into this is exactly why I don't want national politics being injected into Lake Forest.
Well,
All right, we're running circles here, I think, my friend.
yeah, Lake Forest took its first step today in becoming more like Highland Park.
Nah, I mean, look, they had a setback with the CPA amendment a couple of years ago, but then they bounced back and on future votes, they did extremely well. They lost, the caucus officers lost, then they came back and got approved. So I really think and I think the people in LF14 know this, and that's why they didn't want this amendment. They didn't want the majority of people being able to vote because they know if everybody votes, the gig's up. They're never going to win a thing. They know that. They won't say that. They'll spin it different ways. They'll write different things in the patch or on their Facebook pages. But I know the truth. And the truth is that they didn't want this to happen because they know they can't win an election when everybody votes.
Well, if Lake Forest doesn't care, I'm trying to figure out why should I care?
Because you live
Unfortunately,
here, you pay taxes here. You want to keep your taxes
it
low.
doesn't
You want to
matter.
keep having the lowest tax rate in the county and in the
Go to
North
Texas or
Shore.
Florida with everybody else.
Well, a lot of people have, and that's a very good point. And the state is horribly run, and this county is horribly run since um, uh, uh, what's her name from Lake Bluff? Her name is escaping me. The one that
Holly
ran against
Kim.
Sandy Hart. Once Sandy Hart and them took over the Lake County Board, they literally doubled the property taxes for Lake County, for the portion of the tax bill that goes to the county of Lake. So, yeah, the county is horribly run now. The state is horribly run. I mean, Pritzker's clearly using his office to run for president.
At least the state police is sticking up. God bless to our brothers.
Yeah, absolutely. I love all our law enforcement officers,
Duly
including
noted.
the ones here in Lake Forest.
Their
So
boss.
I mean, that's look. I have friends that are in law enforcement. I have a friend from school that was killed in the line of duty as a Chicago police officer. So uh, my heart will always be with law enforcement on that. And when someone supports candidates that are letting or undoing the work of law enforcement, like Kim Fox and Eric Reinhardt, then I'm going to speak up because that's not even a partisan issue to me. I think we should rally behind law enforcement.
All right, disenfranchised.
Yeah, my kids are disenfranchised. Thanks, Prue. Thanks, Sue.
You know, I'm trying to close this show, but you keep giving them a lot of credit, Joe. We
Yeah,
had Susan on. You think she's that smart?
she. What's that phrase Abraham Lincoln said? You can fool some of the people all of the time, and all of the people some of the time. Well, she fools some of the people all of the time.
Well, I guess
And
she.
unfortunately, when you get into a vote where you need two-thirds instead of a simple majority, if we've never had a president of the United States get a two-thirds vote in his
No, Joe, but you
in
got to
their election.
stop. Look, you know, I hope you know where I stand on the L42BQs, the Prue Bidlers of the world, the Susan Garretts, okay? But you are giving them too much credit and you're angst on them
It's fair
and,
enough.
and you're not
Fair point.
doing it on the other side. And until that happens, ain't
Yeah,
nothing
well, there
gonna
needs to
happen.
be a better get out the vote effort. Absolutely, Pete. And that
So
is certainly something to look at. But I
all the
don't want,
90
but here's what I
years,
don't want, Pete.
no,
I
hold on,
don't
90
want to
years of the
discourage people
caucus.
from voting. Here's why I do this. Because I know it, I don't want the alternative. Politics is a binary thing. It's just like, did I really like Donald Trump? No, I have issues with him sometimes, but I agree with him on a lot of other things. But when I look at him versus Kamala Harris or Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton, I'm like, oh, I'll hold my nose and vote for Trump. And he's actually done a lot of great things. I think the Middle East peace thing is great, and he's pleasantly surprised me on a lot of things. So I'm happy he's president and not them.
Thanks, Joe. I'm
So
sure Trump's.
my point is you have to make choices. And in doing so, I don't want to undermine what I think is the better choice on that. So that's why I choose to highlight the faults of the real problem. The real
Stop.
problem isn't whether somebody attended a vigil or not, or answered a FOIA request or not. The real problem to me is whether they raised property taxes or not. Okay? That's a big thing. That affects me a hell of a lot more. And Charlie Kirk would have told you the same thing, Pete.
I'm sure he would have.
Still,
Sure he would
he
have.
would have. Because how did he get involved in the first place? He campaigned for
Joe,
three moderates, Dole,
a
Browner, and Kirk.
conservative, moderate guy gets gunned down and nobody says anything about it, whether I know Charlie Kirk
They,
or
they
not.
flew the
And
flag at
nobody,
half mast at Highland Park.
nobody says anything about it. They're saying it's okay.
Well, unfortunately, look, I don't want to rehash the whole thing, but
Well,
it
we're
became a
rehashing it. Looks
partisan
like it.
event. You know what they didn't do? You know what they did do? They did lower the flag. Why don't you look at the towns that didn't lower the flag? Did Lake Bluff lower the
I
flag for
live in
Charlie
Lake
Kirk? Did
Forest, man, and
did
I helped
Highland
the
Park?
guy.
Well, I'm just saying.
Joe, you want to go again? I'll go again. I'm
Well,
tired of helping these people get into a position of power, and once they get there, they don't do shit.
fair point in from your perspective,
My
but do you want
perspective,
it? But by not helping them, you're ending up helping people that I think you find far worse.
right? Again, you're giving a lot of credit to Lake Forest Place, Prue Bidler, and Susan Garrett.
Well, they obviously can hijack a bylaws election.
90 years of this caucus thing, Joe, that you keep telling me
Yeah,
about.
because until
90
for 90
years,
years,
46
you know
people. You
why?
can't get
Because for
10
nine
votes apiece. Come on.
for 90 years, no one in this city had the audacity to whip out a checkbook for $200,000 for essentially an unpaid volunteer office. Okay. For 90 years, most people in the community respected the
Watch this
process.
next election.
Well, yeah, maybe someone will come in and run that'll spend $500,000.
Yeah.
Who knows? Maybe it takes 500,000. Maybe it takes $1 million for an unpaid job. That would be real tragic if that happens. And you know what? I think you made a very good point. I think sometimes having these things are a good wake-up call, and maybe the caucus needed this wake-up call tonight. All right, as much as it pains me that my kids can't vote, all right, and these other
I don't know
folks
how
that
many
I've talked
wake-up
about.
calls are going to do, and I don't know how much energy I'm going to have.
But politics is a seesaw, Pete. It goes back and forth. I've seen this over the years. The pendulum swings back and forth. Pendulum swung tonight just enough in LF14's favor, but when people vote, it won't.
All right, maybe somebody else can talk me off the ledge. Joe, another...
Come off the ledge, Pete. We love you.
Don't be underneath.
We love you, man.
Don't be underneath the ledge. I'm disenfranchised. I really am.
Well, not as much as my kids are right now.
I'm disgusted with the whole
You know
thing.
my two kids. You don't you think they should be voting?
You know what?
They wanted to vote. They can't.
I want the people that live here that sit on their ass and watch Netflix to vote.
Right, for the Brewers game, or who knows, or Fox or MSNBC or CNN, whatever the hell they watch at night. I don't know.
All right, I'm putting this out unedited. I don't care, and we'll see you in a week.
All right, love you, man.
The Lake Forest Podcast is supported by viewers, listeners, and businesses just like you. Michelle Parno has lived and worked in Lake Forest for over 2 decades. Michelle's lending experience, when combined with her real estate expertise, makes her an invaluable asset to her clients as they navigate their home buying or selling process. Call Michelle now at 847-528-8721, 847-528-8721. For the best cannabis in the world, look no further than Iliad Epic Grow. Owned by Lake Bluff's own Rich Ruzich, they are a cannabis cultivation center focusing on hard-to-find small batch products that will delight both the occasional user and ganjier. When visiting Michigan, ask for it by name. Epic Products, exceptional process. For more information, email info@iliadgrow.com. Laracy & Company CPAs, founded in 2010 by Lake Forest's own Brian Laracy, specializes in tax preparation and bookkeeping services. Earning the People Love Us on Yelp award, their process is straightforward. Just upload, review, and file. For a free quote, visit LaracyCPA.com now. That's LARISEYCPA.com. I'm excited to share with you something special from our Lake Forest community, the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa, located at 775 North Bank Lane in Lake Forest near Wisconsin Avenue. This just isn't any spa. They offer an amazing blend of traditional spa services plus the added benefit of medical procedures and treatments. In a relaxing and luxurious spa environment, you can enjoy a range of cosmetic and aesthetic treatments. These are all performed under the supervision of top medical professionals. The Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa provides skin care, facial rejuvenation, body contouring, laser hair removal, Botox, dermal fillers, chemical peels, and much more. What's great is that each treatment is tailored not just to enhance your appearance, but also to address specific skin concerns and to promote overall well-being. So if you're looking to pamper yourself and take your beauty routine to the next level, give the Aesthetic Lounge Med Spa a call at 224-768-8028 or visit them at their location on North Bank Lane. It's an experience your skin will thank you for. We'd also like to say we're thankful for our Patreon supporters, Otto, John C., Helen, Herrick, J.M., and Paul G.